The smell of cleaning chemicals filled the empty school gym as Mark mopped the last corner of the polished floor. It was late, almost midnight, but he didn't mind. His shift as a janitor was long, yet his heart never felt heavy when he saw Emily, his little girl, smiling. Tonight was different, though. Emily, born with a disability that made walking hard, wanted to dance. There was no music, no lights, just a father spinning his daughter under the dim glow of fluorescent bulbs. What they didn't know was that someone else was watching, a woman whose presence would change everything. Mark had always been a fighter, not with his fists, but with his will. Life had taken almost everything from him. His wife had passed away when Emily was just 2, leaving him to raise her alone. Her disability required therapy, medication, and time he barely had, but Mark never complained. He took a job as a janitor in the very school Emily attended, just to stay close. He believed if he couldn't give her the world, he could at least give her his time. Tonight was special. Emily had seen the other kids during the school dance earlier that day. She came home with her eyes glistening, asking softly, "Daddy, what does it feel like to dance?" Mark felt his throat tighten. How could he explain something so magical when she never had the chance to experience it? He smiled, knelt beside her, and whispered, "How about we find out together?" So there they were in an empty gym after hours. Mark found an old radio in the storage closet and played a faint tune. He scooped Emily into his arms, holding her gently as if she were the most precious thing in the world, because she was. He spun slowly, his heavy work boots echoing softly against the hardwood floor. Emily laughed, her little arms wrapping around his neck, her head resting on his shoulder, as if this was the safest place in the world. Mark closed his eyes for a moment, savoring the sound of her laughter, because it had been too long since he had heard it like this, pure and unguarded. "You're the best dancer in the whole world," he told her, his voice breaking slightly. "That's because you're holding me, Daddy," she whispered back, smiling so wide her cheeks hurt. Neither of them noticed the tall figure standing silently near the door, a woman dressed in an elegant navy blue coat, her heels clicking softly against the floor as she walked closer. Her name was Victoria Hayes, a billionaire businesswoman and the mother of one of Emily's classmates. She had returned to the school after a meeting, planning to finalize a donation to the arts program. She didn't expect to find this, an exhausted janitor twirling his disabled daughter under flickering gym lights like it was the grandest ballroom in the world. Victoria froze, her chest tightening. She had attended countless galas, seen dancers move with perfect grace, but nothing, not even the most flawless performance, had ever looked this beautiful. There was no audience, no applause, no grandeur, just raw love, and it stirred something in her that money could never buy. Victoria stood there, torn between walking away and watching a little longer. Something about the scene pierced through her polished exterior. For years, her life had been about deals, power, and appearances, but this moment felt real. She quietly stepped back into the shadows, not wanting to interrupt. Emily noticed first. Her sharp little eyes caught the glint of heels in the doorway. She whispered in her father's ear, "Daddy, someone's watching." Mark turned quickly, embarrassed. He gently set Emily down on the bench and wiped his hands on his uniform. His heart sank when he recognized Victoria Hayes, one of the wealthiest women in the city. He had seen her picture in magazines attending charity events and speaking at conferences.
What was she doing here?
"I'm sorry, Mum," he stammered, his voice low. "We were just finishing up." He expected a harsh reprimand, maybe even a complaint. But Victoria didn't say anything for a long moment. Instead, she walked slowly toward Emily and knelt down to her level. "You're a beautiful dancer," she said softly, smiling. Emily blushed, her tiny legs dangling nervously. Mark felt his face burn with shame. All he wanted was to make his daughter happy, not break any rules. "If this is a problem, I'll stop right away," he said, his voice cracking. Victoria looked up at him, and for the first time in years someone saw through her power and wealth to something deeper. Her loneliness. "It's not a problem," she said gently. "In fact, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." Mark blinked, unsure how to respond. No one ever called anything in his life beautiful. He was a man who swept floors, scrubbed bathrooms, and stayed invisible to the world. And yet, Here was a billionaire, speaking like his life mattered. Victoria sat with them for a while, asking Emily questions, listening to her stories about school and how she wanted to dance in a real recital someday. Mark felt something shift inside him. He had spent years avoiding people like her, assuming they could never understand someone like him. But tonight, something told him he was wrong. Before leaving, Victoria said something that would echo in Mark's mind for days. Some dancers are too beautiful to stay hidden. And then she was gone, leaving behind the faint scent of expensive perfume and an even stronger sense that something big was about to change. The next morning, Mark woke up thinking it was all a dream. But then the phone rang. It was the school principal, asking him to come to the office. His stomach churned. Was he in trouble? He kissed Emily goodbye and drove to the school, preparing for the worst. When he walked in, Victoria was there, sitting elegantly in the principal's office. Mark's heart pounded. She smiled and gestured for him to sit. "Mark," she began, her voice calm yet commanding, "I couldn't stop thinking about last night. About you. About Emily." He swallowed hard. "Mom, if this is about me staying after hours." She raised her hand gently. "It's not. It's about giving Emily what she deserves. Every child deserves a chance to shine. I want to sponsor her dance lessons. The best instructors, the best studio. Everything." Mark stared at her, speechless. For years, he had carried the weight of every unpaid bill, every hospital visit, every late-night cleaning shift. And now, this woman was offering to give his daughter the one thing he could never provide: opportunity. Why would you do this?" he asked, his voice trembling. Victoria smiled, her eyes softening. "Because love like yours deserves the world to see it. And because I lost something once, something I can't get back. If I can help you and Emily, maybe that emptiness won't feel so heavy." Tears burned Mark's eyes. He wanted to say thank you, but the words felt too small for what she was offering. Instead, he nodded, gripping the arms of the chair as if holding on to reality. From that day forward, everything changed. Emily began her dance lessons, her tiny feet moving with growing confidence. Mark watched every session, his heart swelling with pride. And Victoria, she didn't just pay for lessons. She came to watch every single time, cheering for Emily like she was her own. Months later, Emily performed in her first recital. The lights shone bright, the music soared, and there she was, spinning gracefully with the help of her instructor. The crowd erupted in applause, but for Mark, the loudest sound was Emily's laughter. He turned to Victoria, who sat beside him, her eyes glistening with tears. In that moment, Mark realized something profound. The richest thing in life isn't money or status. It's love, sacrifice, and the unexpected kindness of a stranger who decided to see beauty where the world sees nothing. And as Emily bowed, Mark whispered a silent promise to himself: no matter how hard life gets, love will always find a way to dance.